Welcome everyone. We have our next session on Web3 and we have Mr. Peggy and Vikram Tanna as speakers and it will be moderated by Anil Swanwari. Over to you, Mr.
Thank you very much for that. Hi guys, it's a pleasure to be here at MGen. Dentsu Gaming presents Animation Express MGen Summit, Metaverse Games, Esports and NFTs. It's India's largest esports, games and Web3 summit. I have a wonderful bunch of a couple of professionals from this ecosystem who are going to throw a lot of light on Web3 games, etc. So I'll begin by asking them to introduce themselves quickly. You have a minute to go. That's it. PG and Vikram, a minute each. Can you introduce yourself?
Sounds good. I go ahead. Hi, everyone. My name is Pier Giacomo Palmisani. I go by PG. I'm head of gaming at the Algorand Foundation. In case you're not familiar with Algorand, Algorand is what is called a layer one blockchain, developed and built by MIT professor and Turing Award winner Silvio Micali. We are what is called a pure proof of stake. I'm not going to get into the details and the technical analysis of what that means. But probably a couple of words of what we do at the Algorand Foundation. We are tasked with growing the Algorand ecosystem, bringing new developers, growing verticals, one of them, of course, being gaming, and overall nurturing the community and spreading education at large. Very excited to talk about these topics, definitely very important and probably something that is going to push the whole blockchain crypto industry forward. And I'll pass the baton to Vikram.
Yeah, go run Vikram, you got to run fast. The baton's with you.
Thanks, Anil. So, hey guys, this is Vikram Tanna here. It's great to be part of this forum here. A very exciting topic today for all of us, something which is very, very close to me. I come from Xfinite. I'm the CEO. We've kind of built a decentralized entertainment ecosystem here. We've got different models. The first one is a play-to-earn video streaming model, where rewards are given to users for their time and engagement. In a way, we are tokenizing time and engagement for users. So in a way, it's giving more power to 99% of the community and taking the power away from 1%, which was lying with the platform earlier. This is something which we've used in the streaming model, and we strongly believe that the decentralization is going to change the game. We also have several other businesses within our ecosystem where we are trying to pass on more and more benefits by removing the middlemen from the entertainment ecosystem. For example, we have a NFT marketplace with utilities, and we're also creating a crowdfunding platform for content creators. So very, very excited to be here.
Fabulous. So let's get the show on the road. Let's begin by asking the first basic question. People identify Web3 games in various ways. What, according to you, is a Web3 game? PG, you want to take on that?
Yeah, sure. I think there's two ways of this to answer this question. There is like what has been shipped so far, and what people have perceived of these Web3 games, which has not been the best. Actually, if you go talk to gamers and game developers, they low-key hate crypto games, basically because these games were rushed, they were not built properly. Thinking of things in the likes of Axie Infinity. These are games that are like not really fun to play. Probada is another example, and there are mainly ways to farm tokens, which is not in the spirit of gaming. The sweet spot between gaming and crypto is, and I love to hear also from Vikram, because that's exactly what he's tackling. I think is the next path, and the next step that the crypto games should take is rewarding actual users for engagement and playing games. But that does not mean that you sell 20% of your tokens to early investors. They're going to dump the token on the player base later on, or not that later on, depending on the vesting. Some of these games have very short vesting. If you ever see a very short vesting, that's probably not a good project. So yeah, happy to unpack that. But that's the way I've seen crypto games so far. That's what the industry have produced. The secret is not very secret, is that it takes a long time to build games, and that kind of clashes against what crypto as an industry is used, because in crypto products are shipped faster. People are, one day in crypto is like a month in traditional industries. So people expect products to come to life and come to adoption very fast, but that's not the case with games. Games take a lot of time, a lot of people, and a lot of money to be made. So every time I hear like, oh, we're building the next AAA crypto game, sure, you might be, but we'll see you in a few years, because if you're shipping it like in 6 to 12 months, then it's probably not a AAA game.
We'll come to that. Let me hear Vikram's definition.
Sure.
He has another definition to it.
Yeah, perfect. I just wanted to add to what PG said. I think gaming universe for all gamers, whether it's Web 1 or Web 2, according to me, it's almost like staying in a house, and a house by definition means it could be rented, right? So let me make it simple from a gaming perspective. Gamers come onto a platform, they spend time, they do a lot of engagement, they go up levels. As you go up levels, you become stronger, you might get better weapons, you may have better interactivity. You start engaging regularly with other communities, you are levels up over there. However, one fine day, you want to move out of the game, you don't get anything. You just have to give it up. You either give it to a friend, or these days people try to go to eBay and try to sell it. It doesn't work. But to me, Web3 gaming makes the difference, because there is a sense of ownership in Web3, which Web2 doesn't give to the user. So again, going back to my previous point of giving more power to 99% of the people. So if Web2 is providing you a house, Web3 is actually giving you a home. It's yours. You own the digital assets. You keep getting it appreciated. You own more digital assets. They are with you. You can decide to own it. You can decide to, wait for appreciation. You can decide to trade it for real money. And that's the difference. Web2 is exchange of information. Classic multiplayer games were born in the social arena in terms of Web2. In Web3, because there's not just exchange of information, there's also exchange of value. And that's why I say, it changes from house to home. And that's what gamers love.
Fabulous. No, but again, the value in terms of that comes from the digital assets, the NFTs, etc. But the challenge has been that there's been a loss of confidence, especially after the crashes of the market last year, where you had great values coming in and then suddenly zero value. So your feedback on that?
Yeah, certainly. There has to be a regulated approach to everything. And that's very important. So if you look at our platform, where we actually look at it, we want to bring in mass adoption. And that's where is the mass adoption going to come in? It can't just come in from a tech community or a web native, right? You need the web forward industry in terms of Web3. And that's why bulk of the users need to be upgraded from Web2 to Web3. So for example, our platform, we're very clear. You come in, walk in a Web2 environment. The UI UX is fairly simple. You come, in our case, it's streaming content in terms of play to earn. So you watch more content, you like content, you share content, you get rewards. We've kept it pretty simple for the Web2 community. These rewards are like your credit card rewards. Use it for a variety of experiences. We've partnered with 600 brands. Go and use those vouchers. Go and engage with your top brands. Or we have celebrity experiences like meet and greet, or you can convert your points to donations. Last option, take your own time, walk into the crypto world and say, hey, you can also convert this to crypto, which will go with the regulations and rules defined by the government, which is with KYC. So it's very important when something is kind of peaking very clearly, we ensure that we don't break the rules. We go with an approach where there is identity, where the user is kind of, ensured saying, hey, let me walk the path in terms of upgradation from Web2 to Web3. So I think it's very important. And like PG kind of mentioned, there could be play to earn games where you just kind of, keep rewarding, and that could actually result in dumping. So you need to be, very, very careful in terms of using the token economics right. If you are giving away tokens, if you're giving away rewards, how are you making money? And how are you kind of, working in a way that earned money is getting distributed? Money can't just come in from tokens that you have minted all of a sudden. Otherwise, they're bound to get dumped. So we are very, very clear that, this.
No, you haven't answered my question. Has there been a loss of confidence? You're going about how good you are, but has there been a loss of confidence?
Yeah, overall, from a crypto community perspective, we need to offer confidence. I strongly, agree with you. With more responsibility, with more power comes more responsibility, right? So we all need to be responsible, and we've seen that responsibility get shaken because of a few small percentile of cases or people. But largely, if you look at the community which is there right now, we are getting more responsible. We are learning from what is happening, and we will all have to work together. For example, Dubai has come up with a Dubai Virtual Asset Regulatory Act. The Indian government is coming up with CBDC test cases. And I think more and more cases in these will boost confidence even more. I think we're at an early stage. We need to see what happened to the internet in 1998, 2000. This will move much faster. What happened to internet in 20 years, blockchain will deliver probably in just 5 years. So I think it's a great learning curve, and we're all learning over here.
And PG, have you been listening? And do you want to add anything, or you think Vikram's
I think there's definitely a big loss in confidence. I would say on the average user, I think institutional players are we're still on the fence before learning. They move slow. They are still on the fence and learning now. They will get into the industry. They just need more clarity, more frameworks, and more education, honestly. A lot of it goes through education, through events like this, honestly. I would say also that the next step has to be products that people can use that are blockchain based, and that people can actually recognize the value of using that product. As so far, especially with the latest bull run, yes, there were definitely a lot of new applications, newer than the previous cycle, things that could be used, but a lot of it was still very much related to trading and speculation and all of that stuff. This brought a lot of good use cases, don't get me wrong, but the average user at the end of the day, mainly in this past cycle, was in it for the speculation. We can all agree about that. Platform like Xfinite can bridge that gap, for example. And I think that that gap between the real world and Web3 and what Web3 can empower is going to be the key to restore confidence and move this industry to the next cycle, which supposedly and hopefully will be the one that really cements crypto as we're here to stay. We can provide real value to real people. This is a better technology than what we had before.
Fantastic. I think some of the confidence came back last week when Pokemon Violet had a record-breaking sale of 10 million units in just 3 days. It was a real record, massive record. I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with it. So what can allow a Web3 game to reach that status? What was it?
Should I go?
Go ahead.
Because that's a brand. Because that's something that people love already. That's people they don't care about this is a crypto thing. This it's just they care about the brand. They're fidelized, and if the product is something that can bring more value and extra engagement, extra features to that core base, then it's it's a done deal. It's easy. That what should be. That's what should have been for many of those projects that were just super hyped. And again, that's going to be the sweet spot for the next phase. All these big brands entering the space is definitely very encouraging. They approach things, with care and in a slower way than crypto people do. But that's the right way of doing it. Again, if we're building core infrastructure for decades to come, it does not happen overnight. We need time. We need the right people in the room, and then things will get sorted. But yeah, I'll let Vikram.
But as you said, in the blockchain, everyone wants, in the crypto world, everything happens fast. So where do we have the time?
Great question. We have to be more patient. The crypto people have to be more patient and also acknowledge that we're not doing this for the crypto people. We're doing this for everyone. So we have to have the patience to first, as I said, educate. Education is key, but there's no question about it. To educate people, and education can be check out this cool product that is a crypto-based product. You should try it, because the majority of people, average people that have exposure to crypto, they just hold a maybe trade token. I don't know if they ever use a crypto product. I don't blame them. Some of the user experience is very hard yet. But more work.
Fees are going to haywire now, the gas fees.
Yeah, I mean, that's why a blockchain like Algorand makes sense, where a transaction fee is a fraction of a penny, and confirmation and finality is less than 4 seconds. What finality means is you actually know and trust that a transaction is put in a block and submitted on the blockchain. There's a lot of other things like rollups, layer 2s that do not provide that, although they seem and they tell you that they're fast and cheap. It's not, there's nuance, and that's where it gets like technical, but that's the key. Like crypto people to take care of this technicality in the back so that the end user does not suffer. And I think that's a task that it's, we have to like be very, very keen on and very responsible on.
Just to add on to what PG said, and that's very important, right? You mentioned gas fees, and this was very important for us when we started looking at which blockchain to go after. We evaluated virtually every blockchain that existed, and it's 2 years back. And Algorand was a natural choice. One was very important because in a play-to-earn video streaming model where there are rewards which are getting redeemed by users, the gas fees and the per cost transaction fees need to be very, very small. Secondly, it needs to be scalable, right? The speed also needs to be there. So recently, Algorand is just upgraded, and now they're offering 6,000 TPS, for example, right? So it was very important for us while selecting a blockchain itself to ensure, and of course, Anil, India as a country is super price sensitive. We cannot keep charging the consumer. So you need to get the product at the right price. So we are a AWOT product. We needed to ensure that the gas fees are minimal over there. And that's where Algorand came in terms of scalability, in terms of minimal transactional cost, which are there. And just to go back to the previous point, absolutely agree. There is no rush over here. If you can't sprint, right? You can't sprint in any game. Web 1, Web 2, we've seen Web 3. So if you sprint, it's not going to work. This has to be a marathon. There has to be patience over here. We need to keep going on and on and on. What we are seeing over here, which is about loss of trust because of various kinds of news right now, all of it is coming in terms of value of exchange. And that's probably the tip of the iceberg, right? It started with crypto exchanges. But what is submerged beneath, which is the real value, is blockchain use cases. So when we look at businesses, there is blockchain and there's crypto. Blockchain is the real business. You keep working. Crypto, almost for us as a company, is saying, hey, after you list an IPO, what happens to your stock? You don't worry about it. You get the tokenomics right, it'll happen. Just stay focused on blockchain use cases, and now they will apply everywhere. Indian government, for example, is using it in COVID. So we're seeing a lot of these applications coming in. We need to run a marathon together.
Yeah, but my question was, what can make a game a super success on Web3? What is needed?
It has to be a fun game to play. That's what it is. Like, honest, like that's what the players like. Like people who play video game do not play them to earn money. Let's first put it that way. You play video game because you work 12 hours, you're tired, you just want to maybe shoot somebody on a video game and play Call of Duty, play Halo to decompress, not because you're making a living out of it. And the sweet spot for Web3 games is, as Vikram was saying, is asset ownership. It's not on the reward side. The reward side is a nice to have, but if a crypto game focuses more on the rewards and less on the game and the user experience, that is what gonna lead to not be successful. So again, it boils down to the game. It has to be fun. If it's not fun, then it's not gonna be successful.
Vikram, anything else to add?
I 100% agree. Our app, DApp rather, is called Mazalo, which is have fun. It says it all. Just PG, just for you to get the translation in Hindi, it means have fun.
Okay, nice.
Great. So, is it going to be a AAA studio launching a Web3 game which will explode this ecosystem? Or will it be a Web3 company launching a Web3 game? What do you think is going to explode this ecosystem?
It's a great question. I think the way if it has to explode in that magnitude is definitely going to be from a top-down approach. So if a big publisher decides to move into crypto, that's going to be groundbreaking. Now, I don't know if they want to do that yet because what they run is a very, very profitable business. So why would they move into something that is not very well explored? Also, a bunch of big publishers in the past, few months or a year announced that they were going into NFTs, and they got a huge pushback from their community. It literally blew up in their face. So they stepped back and decided not to move forward. But yeah, if the big wave is probably on the big publisher, will that happen anytime soon? Gosh, who knows? But definitely, I think that before we see a purely native AAA crypto game coming to life in the way that like some of the traditional AAA games are out there right now, that's going to take a few years for sure.
Vikram?
I think it's definitely going to take some time. There's no magic.
No. Is it a purely Web3 game studio, or is it going to be a AAA game studio which will allow to accelerate this ecosystem?
I think the Web3 game studio will have to work coincidentally in terms of the user UI UX. You cannot just let the user jump straight away there because the number of users are going to be fairly small. Also in terms of the equipments and the hardware and the software requirement, we'll have to kind of be mindful of that and get them up layer by layer. Also, they will have to be given tools and equipments to kind of adapt. It's rather the phygital world, right? The more you kind of, get in there in terms of experiences, the more you will be able to deliver over there. So practically, we see a lot of studios now working with major brands, getting them on board, but it has to go beyond that in terms of real experiences for the user. So I would say the experiences have to kind of, move beyond what we believe as industry guys in the native world and actually make it simple for the real user over here.
Okay. Do you think setting up an overseas overall global games council for this ecosystem help?
Yes, for sure. There will be a lot of cross-sectional ideas, like we are discussing over here. It really needs, various industries to kind of come in together. There are different cultures from a user perspective. Of course, what we've seen is the internet has kind of brought these together. COVID is kind of, fueled and ignited more over there. But if we have to really look at cross-sectional ideas in terms of people representing different geographies, cultures, that is really what is, really the need of the hour. And it'll also need a lot of collaboration coming into people rather than working in silos in terms of, how do we want to bring in mass adoption over here?
I understand. So do we need PG? Do we need a kind of a global games council? Collaboration is a separate, but I'm saying having a overall body like FIFA overseeing FIFA oversees football or the ICC oversees cricket. You need something like that to oversee the Web3 game ecosystem.
I mean, that would definitely not hurt. Will that happen anytime soon? Not sure. Getting everybody on the same table is definitely hard, but that, yes. At the same time, you want to make sure like to bring to the table the right people. Again, as I said before, education is key. If this global council is somebody that like provides education, yes. If it's an entity that would provide like oversight and maybe censorship, then I would say no. That's not a thing that the crypto industry wants. But yeah, I mean, it really depends of like, the magnitude of the council, who sits on the council. Again, if it's tasked with education and like just, overall awareness, then I would say yes. After you, Anil, I guess that's going to be your mission for the next year.
Anil, I rather see this more like, islands of communities coming together and ultimately, forming a larger council. It takes some time.
Okay, but I'm also looking at the metaverse and the blockchain. I'm seeing all of this merging. I'm seeing AR, VR. I'm seeing all of the AR especially. So, there are various experiences people have. Then you have the blockchain, then you have the NFTs, then you have the crypto side. So we need to have certain things in place over here. Otherwise, everyone's heading off in different directions without any commonality or purpose. The crypto universe has its own ambition. Your blockchains have their own ambition. The creators have their own ambitions. Players have their own ambitions. So, it's kind of going in all directions.
True. I mean, crypto itself is very tribalistic. I'm not going to lie. Like within crypto itself, there's different communities and different tribes, maybe related to like what chain people are using or whatever. We all come together. I would say crypto is a very open and welcoming industry. Like, I have friends that work at other layer ones and like we come together every here and there. We share thoughts, we debate, and it's like open discussions. And that's great. That's what the spirit of this industry is, honestly. So yeah, I guess like again, it's a process, not gonna happen overnight. But yeah.
Okay. And do you think the play to earn model will sustain in the long run?
The play to earn model, it's not gonna fly. No, definitely not. And you see also many like even the jargon itself has changed to play and earn. Not play to earn, because play to earn literally means that like you're playing something to make a wage or make a salary or whatever we want to call it. And that pretty much means that you're farming a system to get rewarded. And that is most likely a broken economy, broken economic system. Many times it's literally just a Ponzi scheme. So yeah, thankfully we're moving away from that.
Vikram, has he said it all, or are you going to say something else?
Well, I guess, play to earn is one ingredient, and it needs to be used mindfully. If you use it as a mountain, rather, it's going to fall flat straight away, because you can't keep giving away just for people coming and consuming it. Then you'll have people just coming in and putting bots. Of course, that's not possible in blockchain, but you'll have all kinds of things happening over there, and you don't have the right target audience. The audience is there just to spend time and make money, which is never going to happen in the long run. I think what's going to eventually happen as a process is you will have to put together blockchain use cases across industries over here. And each industry will kind of come in and learn from the other industry as a cross section. As early movers over here, I think gaming is really moved on fast, because there have been multiplayer games, there have been exchanges. So it's like a low-hanging fruit, which is kind of, the torchbearer in the industry, I would say, in terms of Web3, and it's running there. And there's a lot of learning coming in over from there. Play to earn is something which has, I think, got a lot of PR courtesy the industry itself, which is to be blamed over here. There is far, far more use cases over here beyond play to earn. It just has to be one thing, and that also has to come in naturally in your business model if it fits in.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions, and you guys have to answer very quickly. We're running out of time. So, what are the challenges in the Web3 ecosystem which are holding it back from, holding back games from becoming more popular? That's one. And will the gaming world be altered by Web3 games, or is it not going to be altered? Because gamers are gamers, and Web3 gamers are different gamers, if I'm correct. So apart from that, will we see a transition of Web2 games to the Web3 side? And, why are traditional studios still hesitant to invest in gaming studios to invest in Web3 games? Why are they still hesitant? And is there enough talent to create Web3 games? Lots of questions.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of talent. When game development is becoming very popular, people love it as a job. I mean, because a lot of people do this by passion. In terms of like being skeptical and hesitant, again, a lot of these studios run very profitable businesses, and the switching cost for them might not be worth, especially if they do not have the expertise to get into crypto. So they are just like, we're running a good business here. Let's just keep doing what we're doing.
Why do you mention crypto? Web3 is not just crypto.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, if you ask cryptographers, like the OG, the ones that like made possible the fact that we can have this conversation, for them, crypto is cryptography, not crypto.
Okay.
But yeah, Web3 is, it's I guess an holistic term, but like also kind of like a buzzword again. I personally like crypto because I guess it gives back to the OGs and the people that made it possible. But yeah, sure. I mean, it's jargon at the end of the day. The point here is
you
that
don't mean cryptocurrency, you mean cryptographic.
Yeah, I mean, like the crypto world has like this very, tangential and sometimes crazy, but also very impactful industry that I personally love. But yeah, anyway, it's just jargon at this point. But the point here is that before seeing this like mass adoption of like games, we gotta put out good products, and some of them are already like. And also, if you look at like some of like the key metrics of like blockchains, games definitely had a spike. Like users, like there's like more than 3 billion people playing video games right now. There's like hundreds of millions of like wallets on the blockchain, like actual people using it. It's probably in the dozens of millions, like actively using it every day. There's definitely still a very big user experience barrier. Non-custodial wallets, although they provide the safety, and we've seen why with the current FTX collapse, they're definitely not user-friendly. Abstracting that layer of complexity is definitely very important. How to do that? I don't think it's still be 100% achieved. There's still nuances. People have good products out there, good solutions, but yeah, again, there's still some gap to be filled. But again, it takes time. It takes iteration. It takes feedback from the users, and it takes good people at the end of the day. People that want to build good products and not drifters. Because then otherwise, that's how we lose confidence, and that's how we get set back years.
Yep, Vikram?
I think three factors from my end, which will kind of, bring in snowballing effect over a period of time. Number one, definitely is talent. And we've seen a lot of talent actually, specifically within India. There's a lot of talent in Web2, and a lot of them have actually pivoted to Web3. And Web3 actually gives you a open ecosystem, a more transparent ecosystem. Platforms are actually inviting developers to come on the ecosystem and contribute and get rewards. Rewards in the sense, get grants, get paid for their work, etc. So we see a lot of engineers. There are blockchain courses now in engineering colleges. A lot of talent over there. So definitely that will only kind of increase over a period of time, and that's going to help. The second one, I think, which is very important, is ease of use. We must remember that from a product UI UX perspective, and that needs a lot of work right now, right? So interoperability, for example, people do struggle when they're not in the industry and want to walk in at a native stage over here. And I'm talking of people who are not techies to actually say that, hey, do I open this wallet? I also need to open this wallet. So there's no one key or one wallet which gives them ease of use. So over a period of time, when interoperability kind of comes in, when they're able to say that, hey, this is my gateway. There are a lot of applications which are now being over here built, like we have in Web2, for example. You just sign in with Google, you just sign in with Facebook. It's so easy. You just kind of move in across. So there are applications being developed over here, which will give you ease of use over a period of time. The third, which I think is very, very important for mass adoption, is pricing. You can start earlier saying, okay, there's a lot of funding available. We'll make it, free initially and then start growing the prices. But that's not a good idea. We've seen, for example, in OTT streaming, how Netflix has plateaued over a period of time and then open up AVOD. So really, to bring in mass adoption, pricing is going to be important, not just in India, but globally as well, to kind of say, hey, this has to be a long, sustainable business with profitability coming in over a period of time. And it just can't be venture money coming in and feeding in and saying, hey, it's free, free, free. So these are the three important aspects, I think, which should really create business cases.
No, in my case, I believe that we have to stop calling it Web 3.0. Why did the internet become popular? Because it wasn't Web 1, Web 2. It was the internet. So I think there's a mind gap which has come in people's head. They think Web 3 is very, very technical. They think blockchain is technical. They think crypto is gambling. We need to simplify things. And I think that's important. And not just educate, but simplify the nomenclatures that we have. I don't know if you agree on that.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I mean, if you have to go to the common man, and there's a famous saying, right? Never underestimate the power of a common man. We've seen in a lot of films, etc. And I absolutely agree with that, because you need to get the common man on to really kind of, fuel and ignite. Otherwise, this will just be left as a spark. It's very, very important to bring in the common man.
PG?
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, we are building this for the common man. And honestly, the jargon can be used in specific events and where people like us talking about it and being interested. The actual technology, the core infrastructure, the layer that sits in the back of all the products, the common man doesn't even know that is there. They don't even know
if that jargon is thrown at him. He's very afraid. I mean, the biggest challenge that streaming faces is the complexity. Though they say it's simple, it's still complex. Discoverability is so very hard on OTT. It's so hard, despite whatever Netflix has done. It's extremely hard. Recommendations happen, but you can't really mine deep. So keep it simple, guys.
Precisely, yeah. That's why a blockchain-like algorithm is actually very user-friendly in terms of how it feels when you use products on algorithm. I'm not saying it's as simple as the common man common application, but we're getting there, and it's definitely way.
But when algorithm works with Polygon, there's stitchability, there are bridges.
Yeah.
Then I don't have to know that I have to bridge. I don't have to know anything. It has to be very simple.
Absolutely.
And it's not there as yet.
Yeah, well, on the bridging side, we can open a separate discussion. Bridging assets, for example, from if to Polygon, is not that user friendly. Like if my mom was to use it, she would have a heart attack. I recently bought some NFTs on OpenSea on Polygon, and like literally popped down like this process might take up to 40 minutes. And like I bridge my assets and the assets disappear from a if wallet for like 20 minutes. And then, yeah, eventually they reappeared on my Polygon wallet. But like, that's scary, right? That's not nice. That's not a nice user experience. And that's why at the beginning I was saying when people say layer 2 and user experience in the same sentence, I am, I don't want to say I'm skeptical, but like be very careful and mindful. But again, these are conversations and these are points and reasoning that need to happen on the blockchain, crypto, whatever you want to call it, community side. The end user, the average man, doesn't need to happen. It's our duty to provide the common man with good enough, secure and safe products to use. That's our task.
Thank you. Any last words before we wrap up? Vikram?
Like I mentioned earlier, I think this is a marathon. We should not set undue expectations. Rome was not built in a day, but we need to ensure that we are planning for the common man.
Absolutely. And PG, sorry.
Just, keep up with everything Algorand. If you're in Dubai next week, we're having a big Algorand event. So just, it's called Decipher. I'm not sure if I can share links here, but like, check it out. It's online. If you want to stay up to date with everything that is going on in the Algorand gaming ecosystem, follow Algo Gaming Guild. They put out a very great newsletter every week. And we currently have a play fight tournament on a casual gaming app called Zone. If you're also into fantasy football, you can play that, especially with the World Cup going on. But other than that, it's been a pleasure. Thanks a lot, Anil.
Yeah, pleasure mine. Like Qatar just scored their first goal against Senegal. I don't know if you're
right. There you go.
Yeah, so that's great. It's been great chatting.
Also, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been great chatting with you all, and let's hope when we get together next year, we have Algorand as a sponsor, we have Mazalo as a sponsor, so we can educate and evangelize the common man even more, apart from the community as well. Thank you, Vikram. Thank you, PG. It's been a pleasure. This is Anil Banwari saying thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
Likewise. Thanks, Anil.
Bye-bye.